Welcome to Holistic Wisdom Live. Today I have a special guest, Rumen Kolev. We're going to discuss Babylonian astrology and its modern day development. He is one of the best known astrology scholars in the world. Big names like Rumen has single-handedly revived and brought back to existence the forgotten lore of ancient Sumerian, Egyptian, and Babylonian astrology through his translations of long-lost manuscripts from Latin, ancient Greek, Akkadian, and Arabic. Welcome, Rumen, so much for being here. I'm excited to dive into Babylonian astrology, how you got into it, and maybe you can explain to most viewers what is the difference between Babylonian astrology and the tropical astrology.
Yes, I'm happy to be here. Let's start then. Well, what was the difference? Actually, the modern day tropical astrology, I would call it only modern day Western astrology, because tropical astrology implies that you use the tropical zodiac, which starts from the spring equinox, right? But such a tropical zodiac existed also in Babylonian astrology.
Oh,
Actually, they had, I can count at least two different types of tropical zodiacs in Babylonian astrology. One sidereal, one ascensional, and so there are like how many? Four zodiacs. They used four different zodiacs. Of course, the sidereal zodiac places the star Aldebaran in the middle of the Babylonian sign of Taurus. Actually, there is an overlap by far between the Babylonian signs in the sidereal Babylonian zodiac and the constellations. So the sidereal was used in observations because they observed the position of the planets relative to the stars, which is something which is much easier to do. When you look at the sky, you see the stars, and you can say where is exactly the planet. But if you want to convert this in tropical, then you must make some computations. So they use the sidereal zodiac in their diaries, in their observations, of course, also in the astrology tool that they used to do. So yes, the major difference is that Babylonian astrology is something practical, and modern Western astrology is something theoretical. The Babylonian astrologers, they watch the sky with their naked eyes, and they observe everything which happens on the sky. Because this is actually the basis of astrology, is the second principle of Hermes Trismegistus, which is the unity of the sky and the earth, the sky, the earth, and man, human. This is in unity. And the signs on the sky show what is the state and what is the prognosis for the earth and for the humans and for everything actually which is on the earth. So this is the major difference. And no matter whether an astrologer will use the sidereal zodiac or the tropical zodiac, if they don't look at the sky, then it remains something else. It's not Babylonian astrology. For example, in Vedic astrology, they use a sidereal zodiac, which is less than 1 degree different from the Babylonian sidereal zodiac. In the Lahiri, I think, was it Lahiri? Yes, Lahiri Iron Amsha, Spica is in 00 Libra. And in the Babylonian, Spica is in 29 degrees and 6 minutes sidereal Babylonian. So there is less than 1 degree difference. However, does this make the Vedic astrology Babylonian? No. Because they don't have horizon there. Where is the horizon? They don't have even meridian in Vedic. So and they don't observe the sky. So they have lost knowledge of the heliacal phases, which is the appearance and disappearance of planets and stars on the sky. And basically Vedic astrology, although that they use a sidereal zodiac, it's not much different by essence from the modern Western astrology. The only difference is that they use different zodiacs, but both of them don't observe the sky, don't know about the heliacal phases, don't know that the signs on the sky are actually the language of astrology. And the sky is much, much richer than their computer programs. So, and also both of them, they use one-dimensional model of the sky. This is only the ecliptic with the projections of the planets. And in Babylonian astrology, as you can guess, the whole celestial sphere is the horoscope. This is a celestial globe. So we have there so many things. We have, yeah.
I wanted to ask you a question just to clarify. Is it the same thing, Babylonian astrology and sidereal? You mean it's the same? Is that correct? They both mean the same thing, or they're different?
No. They are very, very different. Sidereal. Now people call sidereal astrology any astrology which uses the sidereal zodiac. And the sidereal zodiac is pinned to the stars. But as I told you, in the Vedic, they use sidereal zodiac. But this is not Babylonian, because they don't observe, they don't look at the whole celestial sphere, they don't look at the signs on the sky. So, it's something else. And I also believe, with good reason, that what I call Babylonian astrology is actually much closer to what the real astrology is. It is almost identical with the real astrology, because the real astrology is the unity between the sky and the earth, and the sky is a sphere, and there are things happening there. There are meteors, there are meteor showers, there are comets, there are stars which change their brightness, there are appearance and disappearance of planets and of stars. There are so many phenomena which we can observe. And this is the real astrology.
What did the ancients call it? What did the ancients call the astrology? When you go into the ancient texts, what did they call it?
Well, in the Babylonian sources, it is called the science of the stars, and the same also in Arabic. It is something which is coming with the first human. This is not historical process. What the modern scholars in history of science and in Assyriology want to make us believe is that this is a historical process. That somebody figured out the constellations, then somebody else figured out the calendar, another one figured out something else. The ascendant, they say that they didn't care about ascendant in Babylonian astrology, which is not true, and so many things. They want to make us believe that astrology is a historical process, but it is not. The principle of astrology is very simple: unity of sky and earth. And this principle is embedded in every human. And this is not a historical process. Historical process can be only the mathematical development of astrology, but not the principles.
So would you say that Hermes Trismegistus was the one who brought astrology to Earth, or gave that as a gift to humanity?
Well, according to the legends, according to the Arabic legends, we have 3 different Hermeses. And according to my research, the first Hermes was actually Enmeduranki, the priest king of pre-diluvial Sipar, which I date to 5500 BC. And also we have a Babylonian legend about Enmeduranki, in which this legend says that Enmeduranki was the priest king of the city of Sipar, dedicated to Shamash, the god of the sun, in pre-diluvial times, which is very far in the past. So they say that two divinities appeared to Enmeduranki, and it was Shamash, the sun, and Adad, the storm. So these 2 divinities took Enmeduranki up into the heavens, in the where all divinities were gathered, and there they taught him astrology. So this is a revelation. This is a revelation from God Almighty. And my reason to believe that this priest king Enmeduranki lived in 5500 before Christ is based on one text in cuneiform, which is called the Babylonian Astrology. And my book actually, which is in the it is in the academic stream published. It just researches exactly this text, and I discovered that in this text there are several layers of astronomical information. The major layers are three or four, and the oldest layer comes from 5500 BC. So I believe that this is the time of Enmeduranki. However, this is where we can look in the past now. This is the limit. Around 5500 BC is the limit in the past as far as we can see now. But I believe that even before that, there was another Hermes, another Enmeduranki, maybe 20,000 years ago, maybe 200,000 years ago. Who knows? About this book, I can show you. Can I share the screen? You must. Yeah.
Let me make you the co-host. Okay. Yes.
Okay. So now I can share the screen here. Let me see. Okay. I will show you the cover of this book. That's it here. The Babylonian Astrolabe, the calendar of creation. It is published in the academic stream in the State Archives of Assyria Studies, volume 22nd. And the project director of this is Professor Simo Parpulo, who is one of the top scholars in the field. So this is a scholarly book, but there is a lot of astrology there too, a lot of diagrams, pictures, graphics, and I translate there several cuneiform texts, and the Babylonian Astrolabe in several variants is one of them. And also I translate one very interesting text there, and also make analysis. It's a text which in essence is a table of houses, which means that from given time, from when we know what is on the meridian, what star, or how far from a given star, we can compute what is rising on the eastern horizon. So this is a text which actually computes the ascendant. And this text, I believe, is somewhere from the 5th or 6th century BC. So this of course proves that they had the mathematical ability to compute the ascendant. So So Babylonian astrology, in its development in time, it developed later. There were several periods when from Egypt they imported the Babylonian astrology. They developed it in their own ways. Then again, from Greece, also there were several periods when they did this. Like the last one was in the time of Alexander the Great, and of course India too. All of these countries, India, Egypt, Greece, they imported Babylonian astrology in several periods, different, maybe thousands of years apart. So what we have actually in Vedic, Egyptian, and Hellenistic astrology is only some kind of version of Babylonian astrology. And of course, in the way a lot of things were forgotten. And what we ended up with is a curtailed Babylonian astrology. Babylonian astrology, which has lost a lot of its knowledge. This is Hellenistic, this is Vedic, and everything European and Arabic comes by far from the Hellenistic. For the Arabic astrology also, it comes from Persian sources, but the Persian sources also built on Hellenistic. So in Hellenistic astrology, they stopped watching the sky. And they lost knowledge of how to compute the heliacal phases. They didn't know how to compute them. So they figured out some kind of mathematical, very, very approximate way to compute them. But this was very inexact and is giving errors sometimes with several months. So yeah, in short, that's the history of astrology.
Yes. So my next question will be what made you get into Babylonian astrology? I guess, did you start off with regular astrology and then you've kind of merged as you evolved and you were seeking for further truth? You wanted to see what else is out there. And I wanted to know, how many languages do you speak in order to translate all these texts? You must speak many, many languages.
Well, I can read Latin, ancient Greek, somewhat Arabic. Arabic is very, very difficult, but astrological texts are okay, much easier. And of course, also some cuneiform. Again, astronomical texts in cuneiform, in Akkadian, they are much easier to read if you know the terminology, if you know the science, and if you understand the material. No, I cannot read Gilgamesh in Sumerian, or in Akkadian even, such kind of works. But astronomical text is a different story. Of course, I can read French, German, Russian. Italian. So, but speaking is much more difficult. I can speak well English, obviously, German, French with difficulty because I have not practiced. Maybe a little bit Greek. Yeah, so
you're a polymath. Would you say you're a polymath? You have to understand skies, languages, mathematics. Yeah.
yes, basically yes, because I also programmed my own computer program about astrology. This was me who programmed this. So yeah, computer programming, mathematics, languages. These are things which are usually incompatible in most people, but in some they are. So I'm lucky to to be able to do mathematics and at the same time languages.
And then so many people who are interested in evolving their astrology practice are lucky to have what you're teaching. But how did you evolve in your knowledge as well? What made you go into Babylonian astrology? Like how many years later after you've practiced astrology and you've worked with it that you've decided to shift?
Well, I started with medieval, Arabic, modern, and Hellenistic astrology when I was very young, at age 15, because in Bulgaria there was one guy who, in the times of the communism, he translated works from medieval, from Arab, and from Hellenistic astrologers. He translated from Latin and from Greek, and this was like in the 60s. So this guy was like the project Hindsight. Have you heard about this project?
No.
This is a project by Robert Zoller, Robert Schmidt, and Robert Hand, and it started in the 90s, and they translated from Latin and from Greek ancient astrological texts. So we in Bulgaria were quite lucky to start at least 30 years before that. So this was how I started. But then somewhere in the 90s, when was that? Yeah, somewhere in the 90s, I had a student in astrology. She was studying in the PhD program of Assyriology in Switzerland, in Bern, and she started sending me articles and books about Babylonian astrology. And I started reading them, and I was quite fascinated by it. And I started observing the sky and checking and reading more. So this was how I started.
If you were to describe ancient Babylon, can you give us a snapshot from all the ancient texts that you've read, what it was like? What was that civilization like?
Well, this was a civilization in which the people lived in a magical world. Everything was important. There was science everywhere, in the sky, in the nature, in the behavior of the animals, in the level of the waters, in different events, no matter how small they were, in the atmospheric conditions, everywhere everywhere they saw the unity of the cosmos. They believed that everything is connected and everything has much deeper meaning. And now the modern materialistic atheistic Western civilization, they have killed the magic of existence. They have abolished the magic of the universe, at least in their heads. So they live in a world of insignificance, in a world where nothing matters as science or deeper meaning, in a world which is devoid of any deeper meaning. So their existence is in chaos and confusion.
Mm.
You know, for example, when something happens to a Babylonian, no matter whether it's something very nice or something very bad, they always would think, why this happened? Why? Which is the divinity which is sending this fortune or this misfortune to me? And why? What have I done to deserve this? So they were thinking like this. And nowadays, you know, how would an average Western person think? Well, he gets in some terrible crash, something horrible happens, or he gets 10 million from the lotto. But for this guy, this means nothing. This is just a play of chance. So the modern man, by far, the modern man is lost, confused, and doesn't see the connection and doesn't see the meaning of anything. So the ancient Babylonian culture was also rich with mythology and with divinities. There are divinities everywhere, and actually the divinities, they are the principles on which is built the universe. Let's say, for example, Shamash or Apollo. There is this, we can identify Babylonian divinities with ancient Greek divinities. And the first who tried to do this was Alexander the Great and the scholars with whom he went to Babylon. He had big crew of different scholars, and when they were in Babylon, they made this identification of Babylonian divinities with ancient Greek divinities. So Apollo can be in a major way identified with Shamash. And what is this principle in the universe is the light. The light is Apollo. The light is Shamash. It always existed, and it will always exist. It is one of the basic principle of the building blocks of the first emanation on which is built the whole cosmos. So everything had a divinity. Like they had 4 major winds in Babylon, and each wind was connected with a divinity. Some were okay and some were not okay. I mean, some were good and some were bad. So also the direction on the horizon also were connected with divinities. The monks.
Why do you think there was a fall of Babylon? That civilization fell if they were so connected and advanced, right? The famous Tower of Babylon, the destruction of that civilization.
Well, this is a natural cycle. It's every civilization, like every creature, everything which is created has a beginning and has an end.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the cycle of life.
How can people apply Babylonian astrology in their life? For example, knowing your own chart, how can it be applied in what ways?
But the major reason for the devastation of the different civilizations and different cultures is the decadence. It is the so-called last age of the cycle. The last age of the civilizations is like the last age of every human being. You know, somebody becomes 70, 80, 90, 100 years old. Well, they don't have the same strength. They don't have the same power. They go nuts. Many of them develop some illnesses, and very few are the ones who keep upright until the very end. So it is a natural cycle, and this is also the last age of the civilization, which is the 5th one. You remember in the Bible, they talk about the 5 ages of man. The prophet Daniel and Nebuchadnezzar. You know this, Nebuchadnezzar had a dream, and Daniel interpreted for him his dream. Well, not only interpreted, but also the prophet Daniel also told Nebuchadnezzar what was his dream, because Nebuchadnezzar did not tell anyone what was his dream. He demanded from the magicians and from the prophets and from everyone around that they tell him his dream first, and second, interpret it. And they say, how can we know your dream? Your Highness, how can we know your dream? And but then Daniel knew it because God told Daniel, revealed to him what was the dream of Nebuchadnezzar. So in this dream, Nebuchadnezzar sees a statue with its head from gold, with its breast from silver, its tummy from bronze, its legs from iron, and then the feet from clay. So these are the 5 ages. And the feet, they were from clay mixed up with some particles of iron. So in the last age of every civilization, there is this big confusion. There is this big mixture. Nobody knows what he or she is. Okay, is she a woman? Is she a man? Is she what the hell is, like this big mix of everything, of cultures, of religions, of races, of all kinds of things. And this is an age of decadence, of failure, of greed, of cruelty, of confusion, of tyranny, of lies, and of everything bad.
Sounds like we're in that age right now.
Yes, we are. We are in the beginning of this last stage, because the spring equinox now is very close to the 5th degree of Babylonian Pisces, and it moves back. With time, it will reach the next Babylonian sign, which is Aquarius. Right now, the spring equinox is still in Babylonian Pisces, around the 5th degree, but it is moving back, and after 350 years, somewhere after 350 years, it will enter into the new sign, which will be a new civilization. But we are now in the last stretch.
It's so interesting because, we do the work that's related to vibrational frequencies, and we've actually looked into the next 100+ years, and we are seeing a shift based on year 2200. I don't know what's happening based on Babylonian astrology at that time, but there is a big shift in how humanity is going to be from a consciousness perspective. That is when we're seeing a big shift happening.
Yes, this will be around this time when, 2200, we will have somewhere around 160 years, 150 years left to enter into Aquarius. But this is, I think, around 2200, the spring equinox will enter the first dodecatemoria of Pisces, of Babylonian Pisces. One dodecatemoria is 2 degrees and a half, and the spring equinox travel 2 degrees and a half in 180 years. So I think I can show you. I can try to show you here. Okay, if I go to my program, which is here, let's see. That's my program. This is 2 dimensions, because you can see the stars, you can see the constellations, you can see the planets and how far from the ecliptic they are. For example, if you look at Venus, Venus is south of the ecliptic right now. So this orange point here are also the horizon. Let me show you the horizon here. This is the horizon. And the meridian is this here. So this orange dot here, concentric circles, is the spring equinox. We are now in the Babylonian sidereal zodiac. Of course, we can switch to the modern tropical, which is the Ptolemaic tropical. Right now, we are in the tropical Ptolemaic, and the spring equinox is in the beginning of the tropical Aries. However, you see that the constellation is actually the Pisces, and the tropical sign is Aries because the spring equinox is in Pisces. So we have here also Babylonian tropical. Babylonian tropical will put the spring equinox in the middle of the first section, of the first tropical section. Not in the beginning, but in the middle. So, but let's go back to the fixed Babylonian zodiac. So you see here it's 4 degrees 53 minutes. So now I'll change the time to 2200 to see where it will be.
Oh, not 2020, 2200, right?
Yes, yes. Yes, it's what I thought where it will be. It is just entering into the first dodecatemoria of Pisces. These are the dodecatemoria. So every sign is divided in 12 parts, each one of 2 degrees and 30 minutes. And in 2200, the spring equinox is entering the first dodecatemoria of Pisces, moving backwards. You see, like if I put here, for example, let's say that I move with 100 years. If I move with 100 years forward, look how it will change. Now it's in the first degree. And now it has entered already into Aquarius. We can even pinpoint when exactly this will happen. Oh, well, somewhere around, it seems to me. Yes, somewhere around 2360. Yes, somewhere around this. 2370, somewhere around this. The spring equinox will enter into Aquarius, but around 2200 we will be in another period of 180 years, like one dodecatemoria, 2 degrees and a half, is 180 years, and we have entered in 2014. In 2014, we entered into the second dodecatemoria of Pisces, and everything changed because the second dodecatemoria is Aries. The first dodecatemoria of Pisces is Pisces, and the second is Aries. So now, starting from 2014, we are in a new era. So
with that knowledge of understanding how humanity is moving into different phases, what do you perceive with your knowledge and wisdom where humanity is moving towards? Do you see that it will be the age of AI and human, like human the way we know it now will no longer be the same? It will be something else.
Well, Aquarius is capable of doing this. If we talk about the age of Aquarius, which will be like 2200 years, it seems like this. But first, we must go through the Dodecatemoria of Aries, which we have like 170 more years to go. And then another 180 years of the Dodecatemoria of Pisces, which will start around 2200. So we have first to go through these two small eras. Well, small, each one is 180 years. So first we go through these two Dodecatemoria eras, and then we enter into the Aquarius. So Aries will be tumultuous. Of course, here we have Mars. So this will be conflicts, wars, epidemics, tyranny, and all kinds of confrontations. And then after that, the Dodecatemoria of Pisces will be some kind of decadence, pleasures, sensual pleasures, and which will be made possible by the AI, by these artificial worlds in which people can go and do whatever they want.
Yeah, illusion combined with, I guess, figuring out what is real, what is not. So all of it will kind of merge together.
So we are in the end of this big epoch of 2200 years under the Pisces. And every end is tumultuous. So fasten the belts. Of course, everyone can use this kind of epoch for some useful things, like in this kind of periods. This is the proving stone of how strong we are, how strongly we believe in our principles. And this is actually a challenge to the strength of our spirituality. The most important thing is not physical survival, but spiritual survival. And in this kind of epoch, if people get too fixed on the physical survival, they'll lose their souls. They'll lose their spirituality.
Yeah, no, makes sense. I mean, based on the frequencies that we've done for the next 150 plus years, you can see that the tumultuous times are definitely coming, and this integration of AI and humanity as well. This is why I was curious to see where it's going to take us. And you say that it is possible that it's going to merge. And then the defining concept will be, what is spirituality? What is consciousness, right? Every human being has to ask themselves that question. What does it mean to be human and conscious and sentient?
But you see, if people withstand all these challenges, they'll become stronger in spirit. If they don't, then even what they have, like spirituality, will be taken from them with the words of Jesus. And those who have, it will be given to them more. So these times have their logic, they have their usefulness. Practically, they may be not so easy life, life may be much more difficult, but it is the proving times, testing times. You know, the goats will be separated from the lambs. What is Jesus Christ saying to us? I will separate the goats from the lambs, and I'll put the lambs on my right and the goats on my left, and I'll tell the goats, I don't know you. And they ask Jesus, you know, okay, who are the goats? And with my words, he said that, okay, when I was thirsty, you did not bring water to me. When I was hungry, we did not bring bread to me. When I was in prison, you didn't come to visit me. When I was laying sick, you didn't come to see me.
Victim consciousness. Yeah.
And they ask him, hey, are you okay, Jesus? When on earth have you been sick and we didn't come? When on earth have you been thirsty and you didn't give you water? And the answer of Jesus was overwhelming. He answered to them, everybody who is thirsty, this is me. Everybody who is sick, this is me. Everybody who is in prison, this is me. So basically, he wanted to say that if you treat badly only one person, you treat badly Jesus Christ. You don't give water to the thirsty, or even you stop their water. You stop the water for Jesus Christ. That's and basically
we're all each other's mirrors, right? And it's about taking full responsibility for who we are. This is why we're being tested. Yeah.
Yes, this will be a time of testing, which is good. This is, you see, the positive side is that in such circumstances, someone can evolve spiritually very fast, very, very fast. And some can get damnation very fast.
Very true. How can people find you, Rumen?
Well, the best way is, let me see if I have here. Okay, let's see. The best way is, okay, I'll share the screen again. So the best way is through email. So this is my email. You can email.
And what is your website if people want to take classes with you?
I offer quite a lot of things. I have 3 cycles here, a video course in Babylonian and ancient astrology. I have videos of seminars in English. Okay, I have also these webinars on special topics, which are very interesting. You can order everything directly from me. And private lessons, of course, also books and computer programs.
And your website is babylonianastrology.com, correct? That's your website?
Yes.
Okay.
You can see, okay, maybe I can also show you some of my books here. These are some of my books in English that you can order. Okay, let me show you some pictures from Babylonian astrology. You see, this is a picture of the moon with a halo around
I see
it.
this quite often, actually, when I go outside. This is an interesting phenomena. Yeah.
So this is something that was important in Babylonian astrology, as all kinds of phenomena on the sky. So everything depended on when exactly this will happen, which day, which watch, and also what stars or planets will be included in this halo.
You know, I have one question about moon, since you're pointing at the moon. Was the moon always part of the astrology, or was it placed there at a certain time?
Well, astrology is not a historical development.
That's it.
Of course, the moon was maybe the first, well, after the sun, the first celestial body which the humans observed. So, you mean physically?
Yes, physically.
Well, I cannot tell. I don't know actually, because there are different theories, but the fact that it is like it is, whether it was placed by someone or it was a natural, the ultimate decision for this was taken by God Almighty. Nothing happens without the stamp and the agreement of God Almighty. Nothing. So actually, the demons, the devil, they don't have any real power. They have only the power to test humans. So they can whisper in their left ear. They can whisper some bad things, suggest them to do some evil things, and if they do it, this is act of the person, not of the demon. So basically, whether the moon is put there by some aliens or whoever, or it is natural, this is also decided by God. So here we have Venus very close to the Pleiades, you see. This was also omen, of course. This is happening like 2 or 3 times in something like, I don't know, 240 years or something like this. So this is here Venus, and this is Regulus. So this is morning Venus rising very close to Regulus. This is excellent time for women, especially women warriors, women who fight for something. And this here is Sirius, far on the right. And this is the heliacal rise of Orion. Orion, here is this constellation. And here is the sun rising with its powerful halo. So here we have the Pleiades. This is Mars here, this is Jupiter. This here is Aldebaran. And Gemini is low here. So this is just to give you some sense of what Babylonian astrology can be like. Fun. It can be fun. Watching the sky, watching the sunrise, the whole process of the sunrise, starting 2 hours before the sunrise, and the sunset and the night sky. So
what time do you wake up to prepare yourself to see all of it?
Well, if I observe, I can wake up at 3, so I can observe what I want to observe, the whole sunrise process, and which stars and which planets are appearing. So it's a very, very rich experience.
You must do that with your student. It sounds like fun. When students come to you, do you take them out?
Very, very often, yes, very often. Actually, every July, every year, I have a seminar in Babylonian and ancient astrology in person in Varna, Bulgaria. And the last 3 days, we go around different archaeological sites, somewhere where it's very dark and where we can see the whole sky. So we can practice what we talk about.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Thank you, Rumen, so much for taking the time to speak with me today and for the world to get to know you and the work that you do.
Thank you for having me, and I wish good luck to everyone who is watching this video.
Thank you.